How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another 5-minute conversation with PRSÜT Outdoors. I'm John. Let's get into it. Today I'm going to go through my bow setup. I get a lot of DMs and messages asking like what arrow I shoot, what bow I shoot, etc., etc. We're going to go through all that right now. So, first things first, the bow. I shoot an Elite Encore. It is a 31-inch draw, and I have it set to 78 pounds. It's a super shootable bow. It's not the most expensive bow on the market. It's not the cheapest bow on the market, but it's really durable. It's performed really well for me. I have 3 or 4 of them, but this Elite Encore is the one I shoot the most. Okay, rest. I shoot a QAD Ultra Rest. I don't know if there's any else that would be better or worse. This is what I've used for the last 5 years. It's worked really well for me. I just haven't had a reason to change it. I've seen a lot of other ones on the market that are more expensive, that are fancier, whatever. I don't know. This QAD Ultra Rest is like 150 bucks and has worked great for me. So that's that. The sight is a Spot Hog Slider 2-pin. And the reason I have a 2-pin instead of a 1-pin is I hunt elk a lot, and elk a lot of times will bust you and run like 15 yards and stop. So on this Spot Hog 2-pin sight, you have your 1-pin, and then the second pin is usually 15 yards further than your top pin. That way if an animal bumps or it moves or it's walking or whatever, you can just switch to the second pin and you know that you've got a 15-yard deal. And if it's in between 15 yards, like they only walk 7 or 8, you put it in between the 2 pins. That is what has worked the best for me pretty much the last 4 or 5 years. Now, camera. You may notice there's a camera on the front right here. That is a Tacticam 6.0 4K camera. All I do is press the button on the top. When it turns on, it automatically is recording. It catches all my shots. Now, if your bow isn't moving, it does great. After the shot, like if you drop your bow real quick or something like that, after you release the arrow, it doesn't catch a lot after that, but it does get the approach, the draw, usually gets the shot on film. It can film slow motion, it can film 4K, it can film all sorts of stuff. It's pretty cool and actually pretty cheap. Only, I think it was like 350 bucks. I'll be putting links in the description down below for everything that I talk about, so you guys can go look it up for yourself. All right, now, the string. This is a custom string I had built by Summit Bowstrings. He's out of New Braunfels, Texas. It was, I believe it was like 200 bucks, but it works great. It's been on there. This is the 2nd season it's been on there. I never wax my bowstrings. I know it might be weird for that or whatever. Never wax them. I just keep them clean. It works great. Haven't had any issues with it. I've been really pleased with it. It's held super tight. Haven't had any slippage. And I haven't had to adjust the sighting of the sight at all because it's gotten loose or anything like that. That's been really good. Now, let's go to arrows and quivers. I shoot a tight spot quiver. It's just common, easy to get. This is my 2nd or 3rd one. I've broken a couple of them, but I'm really hard on gear, especially on the mountain, so that's not really a slight on tight spot. That's just me being rough on the gear. I also shoot VAP TKO V1 350 spine arrows. They're pretty pricey, but I've been really happy with them. They flex pretty good. They fly really good. They're a micro diameter arrow. That's what I've shot the last 4 or 5 years now, and just haven't had a reason to change. There's a lot of other good arrows out there. I'm not saying that this is the absolute best one, but for me, it's done really, really well. Okay, broadheads. I shoot 2 different broadheads. I only shoot fixed blade broadheads. I know there's some good mechanicals out there. I know people make the argument, whatever. I only shoot fixed blades on everything. Deer, elk, bears, pronghorn, pigs, turkeys, doesn't matter. I shoot the same 2 broadheads for everything. If it's a trophy animal, and all animals are important, I'm not saying that there's not, but for like elk, for deer, for pronghorn, for bears, I shoot Annihilator 125 XL broadheads. Single piece construction, super, super sharp. I've killed a bunch of elk with these. I've killed a bunch of whitetail with these. I've killed a bunch of pronghorn with these. I mean, I killed a bear with this last year. Punches right through stuff. To me, I always want to get an exit. That's my goal with any animal I shoot with a bow. These have performed awesome. Now, when it comes to animals like pigs or turkeys or varmints of some kind, I shoot a little bit cheaper broadhead because these are a little bit expensive. For the cheaper stuff like pigs, stuff like that, I shoot these G5 Montec single piece. Again, it's a cheap broadhead. They don't last very long. I mean, if I hit rocks, if I hit stuff, they get chipped. These don't last me very long, but they're a lot cheaper. So when I'm hunting like pigs and stuff like that, I shoot these 125 G5 Montecs. And when I'm hunting elk, mule deer, whitetail deer, stuff like that, I shoot the Annihilator XL 125s. Okay, those are my broadheads. Release, I'm super basic. True fire. I know some people have really fancy releases. I've been told to switch to a thumb release 1,000 times. I don't need to. This is what works for me. I'm accurate with this. I'm comfortable with this. I keep one on my person and one in the pack at all times in case I lose the one on my person. And yeah, this is what works for me. So I'm just probably never going to switch from there. Let's see. Archery HQ is the guys that set up my bow. They're also located in New Braunfels, Texas. They've been great. Anytime I need anything, I can run down the road and go to them. They are out of town usually in the fall during hunting season, but all spring and summer they are here in town. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff on here that's all personal preference. I mean, everybody can make great arguments about what arrow is the best, or what broadhead is the best, or what sight is the best, or what release is the best, or whatever, right? Archery comes personal preference. This is the setup that's worked for me, and I only have one setup. That's the other thing. A lot of guys will have an elk setup, and a whitetail setup, and then a pig setup, or whatever. And they'll have different arrows and different everything. I don't do any of that. I have one arrow setup. My arrow setup weighs 513 grains, including the broadhead and the knock and the collar. So my total arrow weight, including broadhead, is 513 grains. My bow is set at 78 pounds with a 31-inch draw. I'm getting about 290 feet per second out of the bow with this arrow setup. And I shoot elk with it, I shoot whitetail with it, I shoot everything with it. And some people will say, oh, well, you need a faster arrow for whitetail because they're going to duck or what. No, you don't. I'm sorry, you don't. Shoot this. I get a real, if I can shoot an elk with this setup, I can shoot a whitetail with it, I can shoot a pronghorn with it, I can shoot a bear with it, whatever. It's going to zip right through the whitetail, like the whitetail isn't even in there, it's going to punch right through it. But I don't see the reason to have a bunch of different arrow setups for different animals. Get you one setup that'll kill the biggest animal, and then shoot whitetail with it, shoot axis deer with it, shoot pigs with it, whatever. And they're just not going to duck it that much. I'm not saying whitetail can't duck an arrow. I'm just saying you don't have to have this super speedy arrow for whitetail and then this super heavy arrow for elk. Just get a setup that works for all of them and shoot that and get really, really good with that setup. And I'm just telling you right now, my setup works good for elk, good for whitetail, good for pronghorn, good for mule deer, good for aoudad. It works fine. So that's my advice on that. I see guys have a lot of different arrow setups and stuff like that, and I just don't think it's necessary. I think you should get a bow setup that really works for you and is really comfortable for you, and an arrow setup and a release setup that's really good for you and works well for you and is really comfortable for you, and just get as good and proficient as you can with that, and you're off to the races. So that's my bow setup. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.